to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mrs. Rich?
Here.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Here.
Mr. Parzak?
Here.
The meeting is now open. Adequate notice of the meeting was provided by posting a copy of the time and place on the municipal clerk's bulletin board and mailing a copy of same to the press and the Cape May County Herald on January 4th, 2019. Will everyone please rise to salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item on tonight's agenda is the swearing in and welcoming of our new council member, Frank Dallahan. Will you please come up and be sworn? The clerk will position you. Welcome aboard, Frank.
Congratulations again.
You'll get a nameplate.
Yeah, we'll get you an info.
Do we have any communications?
No, Mayor, we don't.
At this time, I'm going to ask Rob Hicks to come forward. He has a special presentation he would like to make.
Mayor, I don't know what happened there. I know you've done the triathlon once before. I don't think it's going to happen this
Not this
summer,
year.
though. Anyway, thanks for having me. Today's kind of cool. 20th year, that was last year, with the Stone Harbor Triathlon. A lot of good things have come out of it, two in particular. I thought these two items in particular would be items that I would highlight today. Everything goes full circle, and for the 20th year, some really good light can be shed on these two elements. I'll try to stay in a little bit of a script. I may get off if you guys have any questions. But for those that don't know, the Stone Harbor Triathlon is a multi-sport event. Occurs every summer for 20 years running. This will be the 21st, just for a little history. It occurs on the third Sunday of July each year. The host site, everything's kind of housed in one location, is at the Stone Harbor Yacht Club. It's been that way for the 20 full years. And all the transitions of the three events of swim, bike, and run move in and out of the Yacht Club. Yacht Club will be hosting the race again this year for 2019, which would mark the 21st year. Last year, the 20th year, race was pretty much status quo, no major wrinkles. I thought I would put on and recognize the 20th year in some slight difference in terms of bringing in a videographic crew and have the race taped, made into a movie, that kind of thing. And then put on a post-race party, which is what we did at the watering hole, just to celebrate 20 really fantastic years. And that was last year. In terms of this year in 2019, no major changes. I've still employed the videography team. And this year in 2019, we're going to include that as a part of the entry fee. I just thought it would be a fantastic giveaway. Everybody will have that in addition to all the other items that competitors get besides the great blessing of being able to compete in the triathlon. They'll get a race day movie, which we try to identify. We try to give everybody an opportunity to get seen and photographed or videographed in the course of the goal of the movie. So that's a little bit of an overview and highlight of the race in recent years and what we're looking to do in 2019. I think in kind of a segue in terms of two entities that I want to recognize that have been a part of the race the last 20 years. These two entities, I think, came about really through the success of the race. The success of the race specifically related to its demand. And I guess if we go back 20 years ago, I was thinking, I'm not just going to come into Borough Hall and present a triathlon concept and not have a charity component. So 20 years ago, I thought the Volunteer Fire and Rescue Squad of Stone Harbor would be a great entity to identify and to generate a portion of the sums of money that are generated into the race should go out to a very reputable charity recipient. We have a 100% volunteer serviced folks here in town. They're here to protect and serve, and I couldn't think of a better group to identify than the Volunteer Fire and Rescue Squad. Going back to my days when I was at Stone Harbor Elementary School and going over there in 8th grade and having them give us in-services and what they do and what it's all about. So that's a little of the history and why I identified that group. Time passes. Each year, about $5,000 to $6,000 has been raised to the cause of the Volunteer Fire and Rescue Squad since inception. And time gets away from you and you realize, like, wow, 20 years later, nearly $110,000 has been raised for the Volunteer Fire and Rescue Squad. And that hit me, actually. Very good. Great. I think it was a spontaneous thought. I'm speaking to the chief, who was at the Watering Hole post-race party last year, 20th anniversary party, and we're just kind of just chatting about the race. And Roger Stanford says, you know what? It's been 20 years. I think, if it makes sense just mathematically, that must be over $100,000. So it was kind of a spontaneous thought, but I think Roger did say that to me. And so, a little less than 10 months later, I thought it was worthy enough to make kind of a public announcement. And God, without any further ado, I think it's a photo opportunity. So, without any further ado, Sam, come on up. Roger, obviously. Sam, everybody knows Sam, of course. Sam, former president of the fire department. And I'm just trying to see who we have camera people out here. Yeah. Perfect. I guess maybe I'll get in the middle. There you go. Awesome. Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Can we see it? Clap.
I'd just like to,
Clap.
That's a great one. Can we get one more photo with?
Not the best photo op.
All right, well, we have somebody pushing for you.
You have to hide me.
No problem.
You can hold the thing up.
put the sign in front of it.
Put the sign in front of you.
Put the sign up high.
Get next to me. We'll get the guys to step out. Give us some space. Come on, Sam, get in. Thanks, guys.
I'd just like to say a thank you to Rob on behalf of the fire department over these years. We've always been very lucky in the fire department. We've taken this money and earmarked it for special programs. We were able to purchase a $40,000 Cascade system, which is what we fill our air bottles with after a fire call. We also were able to purchase a new Tahoe with the money. And this is money that is provided by Mr. Hicks in the triathlon that doesn't have to be provided by tax dollars through our budget. So it's been great. We always try to use that money for something special. And again, thanks, Rob, for all he's done for us over these years.
Rob. And in the triathlon world, it's known as a premier event. People really want to get into this triathlon here in Stone Harbor. It's been a premier event every year. Sells out how quickly?
It's sold out as quickly as 10 minutes. Last year was about 30 to 45.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes live tomorrow at 12 noon. And, you
fill
know,
up.
it's kind of in process. And, you know, I just step back at 12 noon and I let it happen. And we'll see I'll get a call maybe about 12:30 saying we're at 325. What are you
Yeah.
going to do?
Yeah.
We got 30 more spots. Let them go.
Do
Fill
you
'em
still
up.
do the auctioning of a spot?
You know what? I think I think we prepared this coming in, you and I today, because that's
Oh.
a perfect segue.
Oh, okay. Tell us all about it,
All right,
Rob.
So this is perfect. That sets up entity number 2. Some of you guys know where we're going in this one. I'd say probably 10 to 15 years ago, 20-year history of the race, the demand, it's amazing. The race sold out 20 years ago, surprisingly, quite honestly. Nobody really knew much about triathlon. It was very new. It was very new down here. The races that are going on kind of down here now, this was one of the first ones. So we sold out up till, I think, the day before the race. So you're talking about the race goes live about 6 weeks before the race officially occurs. And year one, it took the 6 weeks to fill it up. And I think I even added a few race morning. And a lot of races still do that today. But this has gotten to the point where that demand has changed over time, and now we're talking minutes, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. 10 years ago, maybe 15, is when I first started identifying that this demand is pretty ridiculous. And as a whole side story, I started getting personal requests and emails, things people would do to get in. It was kind of funny. So on a serious note, I thought, people I think are willing to put their money where their mouth is. I think there's a great opportunity to carve out some charitable entry spots, make sure it fits within the safe numbers of the race. And I felt, let's just do 10. Let's pull 10, once the race fills out and closes, let's pull 10 entries, make them available for best bidders. And that was the concept 10 years ago. And for about 7 years, I ran I kind of generated all the fees to ultimately set up what is now a nonprofit, and just built up the funds of money that ultimately would contribute and fund a scholarship for Stone Harbor youth that have passed through Stone Harbor Elementary School, and then decided to go into any area high school. That's the criteria. Didn't necessarily have to go to middle, and any area school is fine, but they need to pass through Stone Harbor Elementary School system in some capacity. I say some capacity because now it's a fractional in terms of time spent. And then finally, I felt the threshold was adequate to begin funding this thing and identifying the first year of awardees, candidates. And let's see if I've given enough background on it. I think I have. If not, I'll fill in the gaps. But we awarded our first scholarship 3 years ago to an absolutely deserving, they're all deserving, and they came here today. So another great prop, and I'll get you all individually, but the 3 winners in the last 3 years, the first year being 2017, which was the first year we anointed the first scholarship, went to Bridget Ruskey. And I want to just give a brief little bio. I think probably some of you, small town. Some people know a lot about it, a lot of people. But Bridget graduated from Middle Township High School in 2017. She's presently just completed her sophomore year at LaSalle University. She doubles up and plays athletics there. She's playing lacrosse. She's a dual major, international business and marketing. And in terms of, I think Bridget has hinted to me that she's still not exactly sure what she wants to do career-wise. She certainly has plenty of time, so no worries on that. But her accolades, likewise, she's got a 3.5 GPA right now at LaSalle, and she has received a few awards in terms of her lacrosse prowess at LaSalle. First team All-Rookie her freshman year, and her sophomore year, second team All-League, among others. And I could go on further. Bridget Ruskey, congratulations. Great job. We'll get a photo of this in a minute. Year two is 2018. Same thing in sequence. Awardee number 2 is another individual right here in town. We just saw her great dad, Roger Stanford, just stepped up. I think Roger maybe stepped. Roger's in the back. And I would say this, I hope I'm not singling anybody out in a bad way. I hope it's all positive, because all you guys, you each had great assets and skill sets that were a little bit different than the other person. I think that's what makes it great. But Emma, you had probably the best essay that was written, and that's a good segue, as again, I'm thinking on the fly here. 3 criteria everybody was measured against. 3 criteria in terms of deciding who the winner is going to be. And the criteria was just academic achievement, number 1. Number 2 is extracurricular activities, which could include anything from student council to athletics, what they do in summer for their jobs, volunteer work, you name it. And then a 500-word essay that is quite simply expressing their thoughts about what makes the town of Stone Harbor and the Stone Harbor Elementary School system and the time they spent there so valuable and different in their lives. And again, you would have thought she was a journalism major or a soon-to-be attorney. Emma Stanford had a fantastic essay. So that's a little bit of a segue into Emma. Emma just completed her freshman year at Dickinson College. I'm going to brag about you, hopefully. Your GPA, did you get that back yet? Or roughly? Good for you. Good for you. She's president of, wrong one, stay in. She is studying cultural anthropology with a minor in Italian. And you're spending time with the museum at the university? What's the title, and what are you doing there exactly with the museum?
I'm like an artist ambassador, so with events and stuff.
Okay. Excellent. Anyway, congratulations. So that's Emma going into her sophomore year at Dickinson. Emma, what do you want to do? Have you decided? No pressure. No pressure. Just this past weekend, yeah, let's give it. Just anointed the 3rd winner, actually over the weekend into late yesterday. And it's always exciting to be able to send this email out to the winner. They happen to live down the street, happens to be a very big family. Yeah, and just really excited that, that Kate, you could bring this home for the family. Congratulations. I'm sure you have a really proud mom as well. And tell a little bit more about Kate Julian. So Kate is a graduate from Middle Township High School, maybe a graduate in the next few days, and has decided to go to Westchester University. Just a couple little highlights. It's a lot, and I'll try to highlight just a couple singular points. Among her accomplishments at Middle Township High School, she's been president of the student council. She was a class treasurer. She's a member of the National Honor Society, and she's participated in a number of sports at Middle Township over 4 years, included in that cross country, track, tennis, swimming, and I know she's been very involved, my mom tells me, in the Our Savior Lutheran Church, which is where I was confirmed years ago. So congratulations. So the scholarship amount is $4,000. It's $4,000 over the 4 years. So a $1,000 allotment is provided each year. The students need to maintain a 2.75 GPA or above, which they're well along the way in doing that. And we'll keep it going. The award was first year, I think it was $3,000, and I've grown it up to $4,000. Again, it's all reflective of the success of the race. So that's real positive. Any other questions? Did I miss anything about the scholarship or?
Good work.
Any other? Awesome. Yeah, it is tremendous. So, God, in conclusion, 2 great concepts that never would have been envisioned 20 years ago per se. Certainly this last one, and even the original one with what, as Roger explained, he think you go in, it's going to be a year one that might not be a renewal, and it ends up working out really well. So you guys are great. Thank you for your ears. I think I skipped. I want to just put out one more final congratulations to our 3 winners. I'd like to get a photo of the 3 of us up here, or 4 of us up here as well. And keep it up, guys. Keep up all the great work. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. That concludes. We'll look forward to a great 21st year, and I periodically report back on all the details, i.e. tonight. So we'll just keep it going.
Okay,
All right?
all right.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
you.
Thank you. Good work. Okay, we'll now move on to public comment. Anyone wishing to address mayor and council may do so at this time by coming forward to the microphone and stating your name and address for the record.
I'm on official business.
Oh, no.
John Reddy, 216 105th. On behalf of the American Legion and all of our veterans, I'd like to thank the borough and the council for all the support. The parade went great. You know, we had a great open house afterwards. Presentations were good. Thank Ray for being point man on it. So thank you very much.
You're
I have to
welcome.
apologize, John, that the ceremony ran a little longer than I anticipated, you know, and
What?
I should have had seats out there for some of the older guys, and it just, you know.
A couple of them are
Next
still
year-
sitting down.
Next year, we'll take care of it.
That's all right. It costs us an extra hot dog. The two milestones coming up, though, so everybody can, because we're going to be talking to the borough about it. Next year, 2020, the post, the building, turns 125. So it was built in 1895. So here we are 125 years later. It's on the National Registry of Historic Places as well as New Jersey. So we're going to put some sort of celebration together for it. And then the other one is in 2021, right behind it, Stone Harbor American Legion, which was formed on July 8th, 1946, so it'll be 75.
Okay.
And the original, before the post, we had the post in 1948, the meetings were held in Borough Hall here and up in Avalon and both firehouses. So when that building was acquired, in fact, it was abandoned by the government, that's how we got it. Everything moved down there, and then both Avalon and Stone Harbor together went down there. So next year, though, 125,
Great.
okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address mayor and council?
Hi, Craig Williams, 11605 Paradise, and you've seen me before. The thing I'm still interested in, of course, is the sluiceway I was explaining to you. First, I explained it to you almost 2 years ago, and then exactly a year ago tomorrow. And the third time I went in July, I didn't get up and talk, so I can restrain myself if I have to. So when I'm in Florida for 7.5 months, all these mainly older than me men and women love to call it paradise there. And I tell them, yeah, hey, it's heaven, that's what Florida, but paradise is my dock on the bay here, not Florida. And if the sluiceway is built, the estuary that was there for tens of thousands of years would be revitalized in a way that it's the only place on the island that needs this. The transfer of fresh water from the bird sanctuary to salt water in my bay, this is me facing south, by the way, towards Wildwood. It would be so neat just to have that on the property borderline, 15 feet down, 50 feet long, 6 feet wide, nothing more than 6 feet wide. And then what you do is you stick a super duper display of engineering feat and have a place where people can view what the borough's done before anybody else in the country or the world has ever done. And I'd be the guy taking it. I wouldn't let anybody, family, $5 for 15 minutes, and somehow you go down there and witness the behavior of the borough in making something special underneath 3rd Avenue and Paradise Drive. So, I never mentioned before, this even has me more disheartened. Okay, so it might never happen, let's face it. What has me more disheartened across the street over at that most disgusting end of the bird sanctuary. I'll give you 90% of the bird sanctuary as being nice. It is not where I live, okay? They have the largest, they must be the largest sumac leaves in the world. I can't imagine unfettered growth of sumac. And by the way, there used to be a rattier sign than there is now saying established 1947 Stone Harbor Bird Sanctuary, seashore at its best. So they took that down, made it nice, and you know they've made all kinds of improvements to the center and northern end, and I sort of envy them, because what happens is that big marsh area in the middle, which we used to view with binoculars. Remember when we were children in the 60s, 70s? You'd have everybody lying, all 6 of them, let's say, a quarter, for 20 minutes or whatever you get on, and that was life then. Okay, so that ended because the birds are just not there like they used to be. They were so beautiful in the 60s and 70s. Okay, so the only birds you see now, basically the seagulls circle above, like twice the height of the tallest tree across the street from me in the bird sanctuary. So that's the only birds I ever see. Now the sumac, so disgusting as it is, well, down in Florida, again, Jupiter, North Palm, I check it out because there's so many stores. As you know, it's a prosperous world down in Florida. And every parking lot has all these little odd-shaped islands that the landscapers go by 3 times a month, check on it. And you see little tiny quarter-sized poison sumac. And well, I'm not going to touch that. But when it came across the street from the bird sanctuary, I was always touching it in my rose bush and thorns. Guess what my son just did? He had them all taken out. After decades ago, when his grandfather started, beautiful, but nevertheless riddled with the poison sumac, and he wasn't going to touch it, I wasn't going to touch it, and you get stuck with the thorns anyway. So that's gone. So I've countered he's countered the action of the sumac on our property alone. So I'm very relieved. It just makes me happy. So if the sluiceway never gets built, that's a whole different thing, because I could really invest the rest of my life in it if I had to. You know what I'm trying to say? It would be such a boon to the bird sanctuary. And I think you might remember the bottom line I told you way, way back. I'm here to right a wrong. The bottom line is I think there's going to be a future where at least a dozen homeowners that I've never talked to on either side would also say, gosh, that estuary seems to be collapsing underneath my house. Like I say, if you go down 15 feet or less, I'm sure you see the water. So why can't we have this? I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but I don't know what else you do to make the bird sanctuary alive again other than the transfer of fresh and salt water in an organized way, one that could be shut down in the event of any kind of...
Well, I do know that when you came before us, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, that the engineer and Grant Russ from Public Works went and
Craig
looked at your property, correct? Did they
Craig
meet with you at your property?
Somebody with the same first name, Craig Reeves, was it?
Craig Reeves went, okay.
Yeah,
So I know that some representations from the borough did go to your
Yeah, that was our
house and
first
look at
time.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
after the first time I talked almost 2 years ago, or maybe last year. And last year you gathered with Mr. Engineer and Lenore and about 3 other people. By the way, one of the more interesting quirks I've thought about this, just in the last couple days, I only arrived, by the way, late Thursday night from down in Florida. Almost was killed that morning, by the way, on I-95 because my blowout, and I was able to, but so I'm here and I'm happy the Lord gave me some more time. But essentially, if you can't see this for what it is, and I'm sure Craig Reeves, his cursory 10-minute thing meant a lot. He seems to be an expert. You know what's going on right now? The Hans house, demolished
Being demolished,
yesterday, demolished today. These are artists, these guys, the way they use that front loader thing. So they'll probably finish up tomorrow. It'll be a 3-day operation. What better time for anybody? Just take a stroll. You don't have to knock on my door. Just take a stroll and go, hey, I don't mind walking on property. Nobody's going to arrest me for what. You walk on the Hans property. I have met the owner. I just met him, the new owner. But it would be a great thing to see what I'm talking about. If you have nothing else to do, take your dog and Walk up, and all I
Okay.
can say is if the sluiceway isn't built, I think devastation will someday occur in the form of undermining freshwater, saltwater without being controlled, and that's what I have to say.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address mayor and council? Seeing no one, I'll close public comment. Ordinance 1552.
Mayor and council, I move that ordinance 1552 be taken up on first reading.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Will the clerk read the title only of ordinance 1552 on first reading?
An ordinance to authorize a private sale of real property situate between the existing bulkhead and the northwesterly property line of lots 539 and 540, block 200.3, on the tax map of the Borough of Stone Harbor, to the contiguous landowner.
Mayor and council, I move that ordinance 1552 be passed on first reading, published according to law, and that it be taken up on second, third, and final reading and adoption at a meeting of mayor and council to be held on the second day of July, 2019.
Second. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Resolution 2019 S99.
I offer Resolution 2019 S99 for adoption.
Second.
This is the liquor license renewal for the Yacht Club beginning July 1st until June 30th of 2020.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Resolution 2019 S100.
Can I back up for a minute? The ordinance that was read for the first time, we had no discussion on it, and I just think for the people that are here, you know, it's the sale by the borough of that little strip of land next to the bulkhead on 104th Street for $25,000 with the understanding or with the agreement that the homeowner will also replace the bulkhead at their own costs. So that saves the borough from having to do that. So that's what that ordinance is about.
And to be clear, this conveyance is by way of a quitclaim deed, correct?
Conveyance is by way of a quitclaim deed.
Could you explain to the public the nature of a quitclaim
So-
deed?
So a quitclaim deed is basically a deed that is given when the ownership is in question and the person conveying the deed, the grantor, is not guaranteeing title. He is just conveying such interest as he may or may not have in the property to basically as a prelude to a quiet title action. So the borough does not necessarily have clear title to this property, but we are conveying such title as we have in exchange for the payment and the construction of the bulkhead.
Thank you. Mayor and council, I offer Resolution 2019-S-100 for adoption.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
This is the liquor license renewal for Stone Harbor Square license. Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Resolution 2019 S101.
Madam Mayor, I offer Resolution 2019-S-101 for adoption.
Second.
This is a liquor license renewal for Cohogs.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Resolution 2019 S102.
Mayor and council, I offer Resolution 2019-S-102 for adoption.
Second.
This resolution allows for the purchase of a 2020 pumper truck for the fire department, the amount of $575,281. It's being purchased under a cooperative contract agreement.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Resolution 2019 S103.
Madam Mayor and Council, I offer Resolution 2019-S-103 for adoption.
Second.
This is a refund of $1,500 to Aliano Brothers for a hydrant meter rental that was used during the renovation of the police building that was not needed.
Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Resolution 2019 S-104.
I offer Resolution 2019 S-104 for adoption.
Second.
This is a refund for the Reed's Salt Spa in the amount of $12,763 for overpayment.
Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
I need a motion withdrawing Resolution 2019 S-105.
So moved.
Second. Clerk call the roll.
Well, can we have discussion first, real quick? I just want to read into the record the nature of what was being proposed to be resolved, just so it's on the record. Now therefore be it resolved that by the mayor and council of the Borough of Stone Harbor duly assembled this 4th day of June 2019, that the borough will work with the United States Fish and Wildlife Service to explore alternative, more humane means to curtail the predatory fox problem on Stone Harbor Point that avoid any undue pain and suffering sustained by said animals.
I had the motion, I got the second. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
No.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
Am I going to 106?
I'm going to leave that number.
Okay. Resolution 2019 S-106.
Madam Mayor, I offer 2019 S-106 for adoption. This is a resolution appointing Neil Yosin to help Stone Harbor, North Wildwood, and Avalon in the litigation for the matters of the Coastal Resource Act.
Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
Mr. Dallahan?
Yes.
I need a motion approving 2 special events, the Stone Harbor Triathlon and the Burke Motors Bike Ride.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're going to go through each of the motions separately for the exceptions to the single-use plastic ordinance. I'm going to say the name of the business, and the clerk is going to enumerate what the exception is. Sky Jewels.
They'll have their exception until the end of 2019.
I need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Chill Restaurant.
Same thing, end of 2019.
I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Donna's Place.
Donna's Place has an exception until Labor Day.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Juice Girl.
Juice Girl has an exception for this season pending the proof of purchase.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Island Girl.
Island Art has the same thing, season or until their bags are gone with proof of purchase.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Clark's Market.
Pending receipts till the end of the season.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion for the Middle Township Senior Class Picnic.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing no items of discussion on the agenda, may I have a motion approving the bill list?
Wait, we need a motion for the change on the bill,
Just 1 minute.
the beach film change.
We need a motion to change the application for the film, the filming, the changes as applied for to use that 122nd Street,
Correct. The change in the time.
as discussed in the work session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, seeing no items of discussion, may I have a motion approving the bill list?
I'd like to make a motion approving the bill list and authorize the CFO to pay the bills when the funds are available and the vouchers are properly endorsed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will not be going into closed session. We will now have public comment. Again, anyone wishing to address mayor and council may do so at this time by approaching the microphone and stating your name and address for the record.
Robin Casper, 8001 Second Avenue. And I wanted to talk about the foxes. I know we have talked about it a lot today. I do see this effort in conservation to be a failure. If we have been killing animals for the past 30 years at the point, as well as the bird sanctuary, and we are still considering the plover endangered or threatened, I think we need to revisit what we are doing. If we have to exterminate all creatures that are predators in an environment so another creature can survive, I feel like that creature is not meant to be in that place. I am very disheartened to know that no animal is safe in Stone Harbor unless it's a bird. They are the only valued creatures that we see as worth protecting. I see the point as just a part of a bigger entity. There are foxes that come from marshes and visit, and it's not, I don't think, a place where we should dissect and micromanage. It's a part of a bigger ecosystem. And what we've been doing has clearly not been successful. And continuing to kill when there's other factors involved, like seagulls, who are a huge problem, and also the tidewaters. Collectively, the plover has a lot against it. And to keep continuing this carnage, I feel is wrong. And when I go by the bird sanctuary and the point, I no longer feel happy and smile and think it's a happy place. I see them both as wildlife cemeteries. And I have been here since 1965, and for me, it was a very big deal to learn that our animals were being killed. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Is there anyone else who would like to address mayor and council? Seeing no one, I will close public comment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Alrighty then.